The violet sun of Lumeria cast dancing shadows through the crystalline trees as Aidan Foster made his way through the bioluminescent forest. His handheld scanner beeped steadily, tracking the unusual energy signature he detected during his routine terraforming survey. After 6 months on this alien world, he should have known better than to venture so deep into native territory without a guide. But curiosity had always been his weakness. The dense foliage opened into a clearing where iridescent mist rose from a pool of shimmering water. The scanner's readings peaked, indicating high concentrations of the mysterious element that made Lumerian plant life so resilient. Aidan approached cautiously, his boots crunching on patches of crystalline moss. A soft melodic humming stopped him in his tracks. Through the mist, he glimpsed a figure by the water's edge. The scanner slipped from his fingers as he found himself staring at a Lumerian woman. Her purple skin seemed to shimmer with its own inner light, and delicate patterns of bioluminescence traced elegant swirls across her bare shoulders. She was in the middle of some kind of ritual cleansing, dressed only in traditional ceremonial markings. Their eyes met, hers an otherworldly silver that seemed to pierce straight through him. For a moment, time stood still. Then her melodic voice rang out in alarm, and she quickly submerged herself deeper in the sacred waters. "I'm so sorry," Aidan stammered, turning away quickly. "I didn't know anyone was here. I was just following some unusual readings." "Silence," another voice commanded. An elderly Lumerian woman emerged from the trees, her elaborate robes marking her as someone of importance. Her expression was grave as she looked between Aidan and the young woman in the pool. "You have witnessed the sacred cleansing ritual of an unmarried daughter of the Elthiri clan," the elder declared. "I am Vihenna, head of the tribal council, and you outsider have just committed a serious breach of our most sacred laws." Aidan's heart raced. "It was an accident, I swear. I'll leave immediately and forget everything I saw." "That is not possible," Vihenna stated firmly. "You have formed a sacred bond by witnessing Naira in her ritual state. By our ancient laws, there is only one way to preserve her honor now." The young woman, Naira, had wrapped herself in a shimmering robe and emerged from the pool. Despite her earlier alarm, she now stood tall and dignified, though Aidan noticed a slight tremor in her hands. "You must be joined in marriage," Vihenna announced. "It is our way." "Marriage," Aidan choked out, "but you can't be serious, we don't even know each other." "Our laws predate your arrival on this world by millennia," Vihenna replied sternly. "To refuse would bring great shame to Naira and her family. It would damage the delicate peace between our peoples." Aidan ran a hand through his dark hair in frustration. He'd heard about the complex honor codes of the Lumerians, but this was beyond anything he'd imagined. He looked at Naira again, really seeing her this time, the quiet strength in her bearing, the intelligence in her silver eyes, and something else: curiosity. "I need to contact the colonial administration," he said finally. "They need to be involved in this." "Of course," Vihenna agreed. "But know that our decision is final. You have until the next rising of our sister moons to prepare yourself. The binding ceremony must take place then, when the celestial energies are aligned." As Aidan headed back toward the colony in a daze, he couldn't shake the image of those silver eyes from his mind. His scanner lay forgotten by the sacred pool, still beeping its steady rhythm into the gathering dusk. Back at the pool, Naira watched him go, her heart racing with equal parts apprehension and a strange excitement she didn't quite understand. "Grandmother," she said softly to Vihenna, "you know this isn't what I wanted." "The paths of destiny are rarely what we expect, child," the elder replied, touching the luminescent markings on her granddaughter's cheek. "But sometimes the greatest gifts come from our most unexpected moments." Dr. Marcus Rivera, the colony's diplomatic liaison, was going to have a field day with this one. As Aidan trudged back through the forest, he realized his life had just become considerably more complicated. Yet somewhere beneath his panic, a tiny spark of curiosity flickered. What secrets lay behind those silver eyes? What mysteries might he discover in this forced union of two worlds? The violet sun dipped below the horizon, and the first of Lumeria's twin moons began to rise, casting its pale blue light over the crystalline forest. Somewhere in the growing darkness, two hearts beat with the same uncertain rhythm, counting down the moments until their worlds would collide once more. Dr. Marcus Rivera massaged his temples as he faced the colonial council. "This is a delicate situation," he explained, packing the sterile conference room. "The Elthiri clan is one of the most influential among the Lumerian tribes. We can't afford to offend them." Aidan sat slumped in his chair, still processing the events of the past day. His sister Kira, the colony's lead xenobotanist, placed a supportive hand on his shoulder. "There has to be some way around this," she insisted. "We can't force someone to marry because of a cultural misunderstanding." "The Lumerians don't see it as force," Marcus replied. "To them, it's a sacred bond formed by fate itself. Breaking it would be like—" He searched for an Earth comparison, "like breaking a sworn blood oath." The conference room's windows offered a view of the colony's geometric structures, a stark contrast to the organic architecture of the Lumerian settlements visible in the distance. Aiden watched the violet sunlight play across the crystalline spires of the native city, wondering what Naira was doing at that moment. As if summoned by his thoughts, the door chimed, and Elder Vihenna entered with Naira close behind. The younger Lumerian wore formal attire now, a flowing dress that seemed to capture and reflect light in mesmerizing patterns. Their eyes met briefly before both quickly looked away. "We come to begin the preparation ritual," Vihenna announced. "The future mates must spend time learning each other's ways before the ceremony." Kira leaned close to her brother. "This might be a good opportunity to find a way out," she whispered. But Aiden wasn't so sure anymore. Something about Naira intrigued him, perhaps the way she carried herself with such quiet dignity or the intelligent curiosity he caught glimpses of in her expression. The next few days passed in a blur of cultural exchange. Naira showed Aiden the sacred gardens where she worked as a healer, explaining how each bioluminescent plant contained unique properties. Her hands moved gracefully as she demonstrated the proper way to harvest the glowing leaves, her voice soft but confident. "Our people believe that everything in nature has a spirit," she explained, carefully wrapping a crystalline flower in silk. "When we heal, we don't just treat the body, we restore harmony to the spirit." In turn, Aiden introduced her to Earth customs. He showed her how to use simple tools, explained the concept of movies, and demonstrated human dancing. Despite her initial reserve, he caught her smiling at his clumsier attempts to learn Lumerian meditation poses. During one afternoon, as they walked through the forest that bordered both communities, Naira suddenly stopped. "Why do your people try so hard to change our world?" she asked, gesturing to the terraforming equipment visible in the distance. Aiden considered his answer carefully. "We're trying to create areas where humans can live more easily," he explained. "But I've come to realize we might be going about it wrong. There's so much we don't understand about Lumeria. Like accidentally walking into sacred pools." There was a hint of teasing in her voice that surprised him. "Especially that," he laughed, then grew serious. "Naira, I need to ask, are you really okay with all this, with being forced to marry a stranger?" She was quiet for a long moment, her silver eyes reflecting the bioluminescent patterns of the forest. "In our culture, we believe that nothing truly happens by accident," she said finally. "The universe brings together those who are meant to learn from each other." "And what are we meant to learn?" Aiden asked softly. "Perhaps that is what we must discover." She reached out hesitantly and touched his hand. The contact sent a subtle warmth through him, like sunlight on his skin. Back at the colony, tensions were rising. Not everyone supported the idea of their chief engineer marrying a native, even for diplomatic reasons. Aiden overheard whispered conversations about maintaining human purity and native manipulation. It made his blood boil. Similarly, Naira faced opposition from more conservative members of her tribe. Some whispered that she was betraying their ways by spending so much time learning human customs. But she held her head high, supported by her grandmother's unwavering presence. One evening, as the twin moons rose, Aiden found Naira in the sacred garden, tending to the night-blooming crystal flowers. She looked up as he approached, and something in her expression made his heart skip. "Tomorrow is the ceremony," she said quietly. "I know," he sat beside her, watching the flowers pulse with gentle light. "Are you afraid?" "Yes," she admitted, "but not of you." She turned to face him fully. "I'm afraid of failing my people, failing to bridge our worlds." Without thinking, Aiden reached out and took her hand. This time, the warmth that spread between them felt like coming home. "Then we'll face that fear together," he promised. As they sat in comfortable silence, watching the bioluminescent garden come alive under the moon's light, both realized that what had begun as an obligation was slowly transforming into something neither had expected, something that felt remarkably like destiny. The morning of the ceremony never came. Instead, urgent alarms blared through the colony at first light, jerking Aiden from his troubled sleep. His communicator buzzed with multiple emergency messages. Something was wrong with the terraforming systems. He rushed to the control center, where his sister Kira was already examining readings with a grave expression. The atmospheric processors are malfunctioning, she explained quickly. They're releasing compounds that are reacting badly with the native ecosystem. The forest, she hesitated, it's dying. Aiden's blood ran cold. The sacred forest, Naira's forest. He pulled up the surveillance feeds and his worst fears were confirmed. The luminescent trees were dimming, their crystalline structures turning dull and brittle. In the areas closest to the processors, entire groves had already gone dark. We need to shut them down, he said, fingers flying over the controls. We can't, Kira replied. The system's locked up. If we can't fix this, we're looking at an environmental catastrophe that could affect both communities. A commotion at the entrance drew their attention. Naira burst in, her usual composure shattered. The sacred pool, it's turning black, the healing plants are withering. She rushed to Aiden's side, not caring about the shocked looks from other colonists. Our elders say the spirit of the land is crying out in pain. Aiden took her hand, no longer concerned about who might see. We're trying to stop it, but the systems aren't responding. The chemical reaction is spreading faster than we can track it. Naira's silver eyes widened with sudden inspiration. The spirit maps. Our healers maintain records of the land's energy flows, what you might call ley lines. They could help predict the spread pattern. And if we combine that with our atmospheric modeling, Aiden caught her excitement. Kira, can you pull up the chemical dispersion patterns? What followed was an unprecedented collaboration. Naira worked with her grandmother to gather the tribe's ancient knowledge, while Aiden and his team analyzed the technical data. They set up a makeshift command center where both groups could work together, breaking down the barriers between their cultures out of desperate necessity. The damage is following the energy paths, Naira explained, tracing patterns on the holographic map. But there are nodes, sacred points where the land's spirit is strongest. If we can protect these, we could slow the spread, Aiden finished. Give us time to fix the processors. He couldn't help but admire how quickly she'd grasped the technical concepts, matching them to her own understanding of the world. Elder Vihenna, who had been watching silently, stepped forward. Our most potent healing crystals, gathered over generations, they could shield the nodes. But they must be placed precisely and the ritual must be perfect. I'll help, Aiden volunteered immediately. I can monitor the chemical levels while Naira performs the rituals. He turned to her. If you'll trust me to help. Her answer was a squeeze of his hand. They worked through the day and into the night, racing against time. Aiden watched in awe as Naira performed the ancient ceremonies at each node, her movements graceful yet precise. He provided readings and adjustments, their different approaches blending into something new and powerful. At the final and most important node, the sacred pool where they had first met, exhaustion had begun to take its toll. Naira's hands trembled as she prepared the crystal, and Aiden stepped in to steady them. Together, he said softly. She nodded and they completed the ritual as one, their movements synchronized as if they'd been performing it for years. The crystal blazed with light as it touched the water, sending ripples of energy through the surrounding forest. Gradually, the crisis passed. The damaged processors were contained and the forest began to heal. But something else had changed too. The colonists and Lumerians had worked side by side, sharing knowledge and resources. Barriers that had seemed insurmountable mere days ago had dissolved in the face of shared purpose. Later, as they sat by the restored sacred pool, Naira rested her head on Aiden's shoulder. My grandmother says crisis reveals truth, she murmured. What truth did you find? Aiden watched the bioluminescent forest pulse with renewed life. That sometimes the universe knows better than we do, he replied. When I first came here, I thought I understood everything, terraforming, engineering, how to make this world more like Earth. But your people knew things we never imagined. And I, Naira added, thought the old ways were the only ways, but your knowledge when combined with ours. She lifted her head to meet his gaze. Perhaps that is why the spirits brought us together. The ceremony that had been interrupted would still take place, but now it felt different. What had begun as an obligation had been transformed through crisis into choice. As the forest glowed around them, Aiden and Naira sat in comfortable silence, no longer two people forced together by circumstance, but partners who had found strength in their differences. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, but they would face them together, bridging two worlds with every step. The sacred pool shimmered with reflected starlight, witness to a union that had become far more meaningful than either could have imagined. The success of saving the forest had brought the two communities closer, but it also stirred up deeper conflicts. A week before the rescheduled ceremony, Aiden found himself confronting Johnson, the colony's head administrator, in a heated council meeting. "You're letting emotions cloud your judgment," Johnson insisted, his voice sharp with disapproval. "This marriage was meant to be diplomatic theater, not a real union. You're one of our best engineers. We need you focused on colony expansion, not playing house with a native." Aiden's hands clenched into fists. "Naira and her people just helped save both our communities. Their knowledge of this world is invaluable. This isn't about diplomacy anymore." "Exactly my point," Johnson countered. "You've gone native, Foster. I'm removing you from the terraforming project. Maybe some time away from their influence will help you think clearly." Kira, who had been quietly observing, finally spoke up. "The project needs him. More importantly, it needs what he and Naira have created together. Their collaboration has advanced our understanding of this planet more in weeks than we managed in months." Meanwhile, in the Lumerian settlement, Naira faced her own critics. Her cousin Rallan, a traditionalist healer, confronted her in the sacred gardens. "You corrupt our ways with their machines and numbers," he accused. "Now you speak of changing our healing rituals to accommodate their science. Where does it end?" "It ends with us growing stronger," Naira replied calmly, though her heart raced. "The crisis proved that our ways and theirs can work together. The spirits themselves blessed our combined efforts." "The spirits tested us," Rallan corrected, "to see if we would stay true to our ancient paths. By choosing their ways, you fail that test." Elder V. Henna found Naira later, tending to the crystal flowers that had nearly died during the crisis. They were blooming again, their light somehow brighter than before. "Your heart is troubled, child," the elder observed. "How did you know marrying Aiden was right?" Naira asked. "That day at the pool you could have found another solution, but you chose this path. Why?" Vihenna smiled mysteriously. "I saw not just a man who had stumbled upon our sacred place, but one whose spirit resonated with the land itself, though he did not know it. Sometimes the oldest traditions exist to make room for new ones." That evening, Aiden sought out Naira at their pool. He found her practicing the new healing techniques they developed together, combining Lumerian crystals with targeted energy pulses from his modified scanner. "They're trying to separate us," he said without preamble. "Johnson removed me from the project." Naira's hands stilled over the crystals. "My people, some of them say I betray our ways by embracing your science." She turned to face him. "But how can it be betrayal when it feels so right, when everything we've learned together has only made both our peoples stronger?" Aiden stepped closer, taking her hands in his. The familiar warmth flowed between them, stronger now than ever. "I've been thinking about what you said about the universe bringing people together to learn from each other. Maybe it's not just about learning, maybe it's about becoming something new together." "Something neither of us could be alone," Naira agreed softly. They stood in silence watching the twin moons rise. Finally, Aiden spoke again. "We could leave, find somewhere else away from both communities." "No," Naira said firmly. "We stay and fight, show them what's possible when two worlds truly come together." She squeezed his hands. "Besides, this is our home, the place where we found each other. I won't let anyone drive us from it." That night, they worked late into the darkness, documenting everything they'd learned together. Every successful combination of Earth technology and Lumerian wisdom, every discovery made possible by their partnership. When morning came, they would present their findings to both councils together. As they worked, the forest seemed to pulse in rhythm with their efforts, its light a testament to what they'd already achieved. They were no longer just two people from different worlds. They were pioneers of a new way forward, their love a bridge between stars and spirits, science and sacred wisdom. The question was no longer whether their union would work, but whether their peoples were ready for the change it represented. As the night deepened, Aiden and Naira drew strength from each other, preparing for the battles ahead. Their path wouldn't be easy, but they would walk it together, under the light of Lumeria's moons. The day of the ceremony dawned with both moons still visible in the violet sky, a rare occurrence that the Lumerians saw as a powerful omen. The sacred pool clearing had been transformed, decorated with a blend of Earth and Lumerian traditions, crystalline flowers twined through technological arrays, their lights pulsing in harmony. But before the ceremony could begin, Aiden and Naira had one final challenge to face. They stood together before the joint council of both communities, their documented findings projected on screens behind them while bioluminescent displays danced alongside the data. "What we've discovered goes beyond cultural exchange," Aiden explained, showing how their combined knowledge had improved both the terraforming systems and the traditional healing practices. "We're not just adapting to each other, we're evolving together." Naira stepped forward, her voice clear and confident. The spirits of this world don't distinguish between our peoples. The crisis showed us that our fates are intertwined. What we've built together isn't a betrayal of either culture, it's the future both our peoples need. Dr. Marcus Rivera, who had been quietly supportive all along, spoke up. The evidence is compelling. Their innovations have increased colony sustainability by 40% while actually strengthening the native ecosystem. We'd be fools to ignore these results. One by one, others spoke in their favor. Kira presented research showing how the modified terraforming approach preserved vital Lumerian energy lines. Elder V. Henna revealed ancient prophecies that spoke of a time when the Sky People would join with the land's children to create new harmony. Even Johnson had to concede. While I maintain my reservations, he said stiffly, I cannot deny the practical benefits of this collaboration. As the council deliberated, Aiden and Naira slipped away to their pool. The water sparkled with renewed energy, reflecting their joined hands as they stood at its edge. Whatever they decide, Aiden said softly, my heart has already chosen. Naira touched his cheek, her silver eyes shining. As has mine, the universe brought us together, but we chose to understand each other. That is the real sacred bond. The ceremony, when it finally began, was unlike anything either community had seen before. Traditional Lumerian rituals blended seamlessly with Earth customs. Aiden wore ceremonial robes embedded with technological elements that made them shimmer like Naira's skin. She carried both crystal flowers and earth roses, their scents mingling in the alien air. Elder V. Henna led the rites, her words bridging ancient wisdom and new beginnings. Today we witness not just the union of two hearts but the birth of a new way forward. As these two have shown us, true harmony comes not from erasing our differences but from finding strength in them. When the moment came to speak their vows, Aiden and Naira had prepared something special. Together, they activated a device they'd created, a combination of Earth technology and Lumerian crystals. The clearing filled with dancing lights that moved like stellar winds through auroral veils, telling the story of their journey in a language both cultures could understand. I promise to stand with you, Aiden said, between worlds and within them. To learn from you, grow with you, and face whatever challenges come our way together. I promise to walk beside you, Naira responded, under all moons and suns. To blend our ways into something new and beautiful, and to never forget the fate that brought us together. As they sealed their vows, the forest itself seemed to celebrate. Waves of bioluminescence rippled through the trees, and the sacred pool glowed with unprecedented brightness. Even the skeptics in the audience couldn't deny the power of the moment. The celebration that followed broke down the last barriers between the communities. Humans danced to Lumerian music while natives tried Earth delicacies. Scientists discussed energy patterns with tribal healers, and children from both peoples played together among the glowing trees. Later, as the twin moons rose once more, Aiden and Naira stood on a hill overlooking both settlements. In the valley below, lights from the colony mingled with the natural luminescence of the Lumerian city, creating a tapestry of shared civilization. Look, Naira pointed to where new structures were already being built, hybrid buildings that incorporated both their styles. It's already changing. It was always going to change, Aiden replied, drawing her close. We just helped it change for the better. Their kiss under the starlit sky was more than a symbol. It was a promise of things to come. As the night deepened around them, the sacred pool glowed with contentment, blessing a union that had grown from an awkward obligation into something legendary. In the years that followed, their story would be told by both peoples, the tale of how an accidental glimpse led to a love that transformed two worlds. And in the generations to come, their descendants would walk between the stars and spirits with equal grace, their lives a testament to the power of understanding, acceptance, and love that transcends all boundaries.